Good day, everybody. It's Tia Torres with another Wild Instincts episode. We're winding down with this series. We've filmed the movie and did what we had to do, and it's time for us to head back to the U.S. Even though I was excited about going home, I mean, after all, I had two kids, right? I had a dog rescue to attend to. It was still very sad to leave. I had grown very, very fond of Sri Lanka. But I think the biggest heartbreak for me was giving up my pet crow. I had a crow. With all these animals that had gotten dumped on us by the locals, trying to, sell us animals for the movie. One of them was Boogie Woogie. He or she had become like a buddy to me and to Tonka, my pit bull. And he was so friendly with people, just to turn him loose. I don't know if the locals would have appreciated a big old black bird landing on their balcony and saying, "Feed me." So we did. Myself and one of the other employees, or one of the trainers, actually had taken on a squirrel. It was a black squirrel. They were black there. And he too wanted to bring the squirrel back with him. And of course, we knew they weren't going to let us. So I ended up giving my crow to my quasi-boyfriend, Jeffrey. He loved animals, though. He did love animals. But that's what could I do? These weren't animals that we asked for. These were animals that were put upon us. So we're getting ready to pack up, and it's a lot. And we started, when I say we, the trainers, started to detect there was some drama going on with our production company, our boss, which was Brian McMillan, something going on. And it went on for a couple of days, and we're like, what's happening here? You could feel the rumblings. And we find out that we can't leave. Apparently in some tabloid newspaper or something they had there at the time, some reporter had put out a fake photo, as in it wasn't us. I believe it was like a black leopard, of it being like caged in like horrific conditions. I mean, it wasn't ours. And so then we started getting accused of animal abuse. And so they wanted to do like this big investigation, and they held us up. They weren't going to let us go. Thank God, now we're being held hostage. Of course, we were able to, clear it up. But it took about, if I remember correctly, about a week to get all this together. So it was the same routine. The majority of the trainers went home. And it was the same crew. Myself, Scott, who was primarily the bear handler, and Chad, who was primarily the primate monkey handler. We were the same ones coming in, so we were the same ones going out with the animals. And so it was a process, getting them all loaded up. And of course, we knew that we would be heading into Amsterdam for a layover. So during the process of getting things ready to leave, I was actually approached. I don't remember his title. I want to say like Prime Minister, some affluent person there offered me a position of staying there and opening up an animal sanctuary. and they showed me where I would be staying. I mean, it was like a palace. It was beautiful. And I guess they approached me because out of all the trainers, I became immersed in the culture. And of course, dating Jeffrey, who was the country's animal expert, wildlife expert, they thought, oh, okay, this lady probably would work it out here. But it was like, of course, it was like this beautiful piece of property with this palace. I mean, it looked like a palace. And I was like, wow, would my kids do well here? That's the first thing I you got to think about. And I wanted to do it so bad. I loved it there. I really did. But of course, I had 2 daughters to get home to. But yeah, maybe I would have been a princess or something by now. I don't know. A queen. So anyways, we did our thing, and we packed up, and we were, like I said, one of the final group to go, and got back into Amsterdam. Now this time in Amsterdam, I was smart. I unloaded Tatanka from her crate at the airport because we had an overnight layover there. And I went straight to the hotel, did not in a taxi. Did I mention that the taxis were Mercedes-Benz? Yeah, I can't remember if I told you that. And I just stayed in the hotel overnight. I'm like, I am not going anywhere. After my first trip through Amsterdam got me in enough trouble. We're staying in the hotel. Okay, so it was eventless. Pack up the next morning, and we're off to the U.S. So, you know what? Now, you know what? I'm gonna make this the last episode because the story I'm about to tell you, is too good. It's too good not to tell in this episode, and it will wrap things up. I thought I had a couple more episodes left in me, but this is a good story, and I can't not tell it. Okay. As you probably know, or don't, I'll tell you. Amsterdam is famous for the legalization of certain pharmaceuticals. I think mainly hash. They have hash bars. I think I might have said that in a prior episode. And it's legal. I mean, you go there and there's menus and you order what you want. Okay, just putting that out there. All right. So after our 10, 11 hour flight home, we land at LAX. And the big hatch door opens where the animals are. And I remember this so vividly. The first thing I did was I walked down the stairs because we had to wait for the little caravan of, they're kind of like golf carts, but they have like heavy duty ones where we could put like the animal cages on them to get them back into the hangars, where then we would load up the animals into the trucks. Anyways, so I walked down and I literally got on my knees and kissed the ground. Because once I got to LAX, I then realized, wow, I kind of do love it here. I do love the US. You do realize how much you have here when you're living in a third world country. Because at the time, Sri Lanka was pretty much a third world country. Let me tell you. All right. So, as we're getting the animals out, this little like a small pickup truck pulls up. And the guy hops out, and he's kind of dressed like an airport security. And he has a dog with him, a yellow lab. And of course, I'm a dog person. And I'm like, oh my God, can I pet your dog? And he goes, yeah. And I'm petting him, right? And by this time, Chad and Scott had already come out of the airplane, and they were waiting outside with me, right there on the tarmac, waiting for these little carts to come up to help us get the cages out. And I'm playing with this lab. And I look over, and Scott and Chad had this look on their face. I don't know. It was a cross between horror, fear, terror, but the look on their face was like, no, get him out! Like they were like taking their finger and like putting it across their throat, like get him out of here, like cutting their throat. I don't know why that even made sense, but and I'm like, what? And there's like no, like looking at me like, I'm like, what? And so I'm just, and of course now people are gathering. The airport employees are gathering because now they're starting to bring the animals out in the cages. So it's pretty, impressive. So of course this airport security guy's sticking around, and I'm just petting his dog and hanging onto his dog. And I look over and Chad is giving me the dirtiest look. Like, you need to leave him alone. I don't know how I'm thinking that's what his face was saying to me, but it was like a mean face. So, as the animals start to come out, I'm like, okay, I got to go now. But, security guy stuck around. And of course, when the animals are brought down, the dog is getting more inquisitive because, oh my God, there's all these animals. So the dog is like, like barking and being very inquisitive again. So eventually we get the animals out and they're all loaded onto these little, like trolley things. And we start to convoy over to the hangars where the awaiting pickup trucks from our fellow trainers who had flown ahead of us are there waiting to pick us up. And we get back over there and get them loaded up, and airport security, it's a different set of employees at that point. And Scott and Chad come over to me and they said, "Are you serious? Did you not see the message we were trying to give you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what was that all about?" Now, mind you guys, I was a new trainer in this capacity. So I'm feeling very vulnerable. Like, what did I do wrong, And they go around to the side of the pickup. They're like, "Come here." And Chad lifts up his shirt. Just like in the movies. He had a bunch of hash taped to his stomach. I mean, personal use, nonetheless. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then Chad pulls out his passport and he flips it out and he goes, "Look at the last 2 stamps from countries I've been to." I'm like, okay. Well, one, of course, was Amsterdam. And Sri Lanka was on there, but Amsterdam. And then the one before that was Colombia. I'm like, it's like, are you serious? I'm like, wait a minute. You're not turning this around on me. You was smuggling some drugs for yourself. I'm like, yeah. Can you, okay. In case you haven't figured it out. The dog was a drug dog. That's why they were panicking. I didn't even notice that it said it on the side of the guy's truck. It was a drug dog. Thank God the bears and the monkeys and the tigers and the lions and the leopards and the wolf dogs, thank God they all put off a scent that had that dog off doing something else. And I sat there going, oh my God, we would have all got arrested. Yeah. So that was my final adventure with them. And we all went back to the ranch and collected our animals, and for me it was taking my wolf dogs and going home. To this day, like I said, I still regret missing Mariah's first day of kindergarten. But that job catapulted a career for me at that point. I started getting hired, working actually with my pit bulls more than my wolf dogs. And, I know that the entertainment industry using animals has a bad reputation, as it should. There's a lot of crappy trainers out there. But I was so fortunate that I learned from some good people. And I went on to work with many other trainers and many other training companies. Thankfully, most of them good. There were a couple that were like, ugh. But I would never let anybody do anything to my dog. I was like, no. We're not doing that. No, you're not doing that. So I would step up, and say, no, I don't give a crap. I will walk off this set right now. Matter of fact, I did walk off a music video, out of principle. I was hired years later with two of my pit bulls to work on a music video. And when I was hired, I was told it was a rock music. I'm like, okay. And the way the woman pronounced, I said, who's the singer? And she goes, Demex. I said, Demex? I've never heard of Demex, but okay. And when I get there, the first thing I notice is that it's an entire black crew. Like all the extras were, everybody was black on the set. Everybody. As in like, African American, black. And I'm like, this is like a rock video, There's not any scraggly, long-haired white boys running around. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this looks kind of like a rap video, And I had worked on a lot of rap videos, okay, because I had pit bulls, so I could tell. And I asked one of the producers when I got there. I was only there for like an hour, and I said, "Who's the singer?" And they said, "Oh, DMX." I said, DMX. DMX. I said, as in the dog fighter, the guy that got busted for dog fighting a couple of times. And I told the producer, who was a very nice guy, by the way, and I said, I can't be here. I'm not doing this job. And, he's like, wait, what? I said, I'm out of here. And I left. So, but again, working in Sri Lanka did catapult a nice career for me for quite a while. My dogs had a blast. I was known as the girl with all the red pit bulls. I had an entire red pit bull team. I also did a lot of porn. Yes, you heard correctly. Porn as an adult entertainment. Not me, okay? And not in the way you think with my dogs, all right? So get your mind out of the gutter. But I had this, and I think I've talked about this in another podcast, where I had he owned a adult entertainment company, very well known, and he loved wolves and my wolf dogs, and I forgot how he found out about me, but anyways, he liked to make these. He made very elaborate porn movies. They weren't just like regular porn movies. They were like Twilight. He made like these big productions. And he liked having wolves in the back, in the background and the scenery, but he would never allow any sex scenes in front of the dogs. So when it was time for the wolves to come in, the wolf dogs, he would make the actors leave, and the wolf dogs were allowed to just whatever the scene called for, like running through the woods, that kind of thing. So I worked a lot with the porn industry. But yeah, I had a good run at it, and I had fun doing it. It was a lot of fun. So I have the Jungle Book to thank for that. And eventually I just got out of the business. And then when the rescue got bigger, that's what I ended up, sticking with. Oh gosh, I did not know Wild Instincts was going to end right now, but it is. We're done. And I am going to link the movie in the video description, where you can actually watch it if you care to. I'll link the YouTube version. I don't know if it may cost something. I don't know. But if you want to watch the outcome, and see the beautiful, beautiful film direction, the animal work, it's something to behold. Well, gosh, I gotta go on to another topic now. Well, thank you guys for sticking it out. Like I said, I did not know this was going to be the last episode, but I got my story out there, and I owe everything to these animals. I owe everything to the McMillan family, and all the people I work with for teaching me everything I know today about dog behavior and dog training. If it hadn't been for those tigers and the lions and the leopards and the monkeys and the orangutans and the chimps and the elephant and all those animals, especially the wolf dogs, they taught me everything about dogs. And I feel very honored to have been in that situation. I feel very, very honored that I was given this opportunity. Well, I guess this is where we say goodbye for now. And remember, stay feral at heart. You know, it's just, I don't want anybody to ever lose that sense of wild in their life, because we all need it every now and then. All right, y'all. Well, we'll catch up with you on another one.